the success that I've had has been amazing. But as they say, with incredible highs come incredible lows. I was diagnosed with what's called GAD, general anxiety disorder. You worry about everything, mostly irrational things that are never going to happen. Worst case scenario. I went from a struggling student to a not as bad struggling college student that drank too much, partied too much, couldn't hold down a girlfriend, hunted too much, to now very happy father and husband on a career path that I can't figure out exactly how I got to, but pretty happy with. And there's a lot of in-between gray area that happened there that's a really interesting, and I think about it all the time. And at the time, I was going through some big life changes. I had just resigned from my career that I loved at Sitka. I had decided to move my family back to Oregon near the grandparents. Didn't really know how I was going to make ends meet. I had some ideas, but the decision was more based on what will I regret more, staying in a career I love or my kids not knowing their grandparents. And so all of this piled together, the big life changes, me realizing that I had a real problem, actually made it worse. Because then you start second guessing yourself. You start wondering, am I crazy? I didn't think I was crazy. I thought other people were crazy. You start questioning yourself as a father, as a husband, as a professional. And all of those things combined took me to a place that I can only describe as hell. I'm a really optimistic person, probably overly optimistic. But I was having thoughts of suicide. You start going through scenarios. But I've had, at that time, 3 or 4 friends take their own life. And when you go through that, you wonder how anybody could ever think, like even why that would even cross their mind, especially me. Overly optimistic person, pretty successful, healthy family, beautiful wife, great life, but it's not rational. So I decided to, I was driving home from work one day, and I go, this is bad. This is not good. I know I'm not gonna do that, but just the fact that it's crossing my mind bugs me enough to where I gotta talk to my wife about it. So I walked in and I said, this is gonna sound really screwed up, but I've been thinking about killing myself. And she, she just gave me a hug, and we talked about it, and the act of unpacking that was one of the most powerful things, like medications or whatever you want to call it, that in the situation helped the most. Because you talk through it and you're like, God, that's insane. I would never do that. And you just, by saying it out loud to somebody, it makes you realize, like, it's almost like a big slap in the face. It's like, what the hell are you thinking? Well, you're not thinking. It's like this weird part of your brain that's in this spiral because of all of these things that's taking you to this place. And then as I talked to more people in secret about it, I realized that a pretty strong percentage of the people around me were struggling with very similar, if not identical things. But I hadn't talked about it publicly because it's really damn embarrassing, to be honest with you, especially when you're known as a guy to be really positive and upbeat. Like, it's really a hit to the ego.
Right, I shot a bull about an hour ago. I thought I heard him roll, but I want to make sure. And another hunter came upon me, and super nice guy, and he's helping me film the recovery. So here we go. Haven't been down there yet.
All right. I'm like, why is no one talking about this? But here we are, most of us struggling with too much pressure at work, too much time in front of screens, too much time sitting down, not enough sleep, all the stressors that everybody has in modern day life. And it triggers all these things in your brain where most people or not most people, but a lot of people are depressed and have high anxiety. And it's just the way it is, but no one's talking about it, especially in the hunting industry. Nobody. One of the other key things I found was anything that brought me into the present. And one of the only two things I know in my life that brings me into the present really, really well is being in the mountains and playing my guitar. Because when you're in the mountains and you're hunting or hiking or whatever, your senses are sort of refreshed. You're smelling, you're hearing, you're feeling cold, you're spotting, you're stalking, you're whatever you're doing. It brings you into the present, and all of that outside crap that you're dealing with for a brief moment goes away. And it's almost like taking an Advil when you have a headache. It doesn't get rid of your problems, but for that moment, you're focused on spotting that buck or calling in that elk or taking that shot. A big part of my career thus far has been sitting in front of your iPhone and your laptop, answering emails or being on the phone in fluorescent lights in a building. And you can only take so much of that without the antidote to that, which is, for me, this. My name is Dave Brinker. I'm a family man, a hunter, and a musician. Everyone has their own story. This is mine. It's in the blood.
You have two sons.
2 sons and a daughter.
Yep. I got 2 daughters and a son, and then another son.
Okay, so he's got it flipped.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing the 4? We're not doing the 4.
Well,
Dude, you know what's funny? I was supposed to get a vasectomy today. And I rescheduled it.
Blood Origins? I'm so glad.
I rescheduled my vasectomy for Blood Origins.
Okay. Probably just created the best blooper reel we have.